Alright, old chaps, here's a movie about the movie Mary Poppins. You like that Dick Van Dyke impression? Yeah, it needs work. Saving Mr. Banks. So Saving Mr. Banks is the true-ish story of how Mary Poppins got adapted to the big screen. It stars Emma Thompson as P.L. Travers, the author of the book, and Tom Hanks as Walt Disney himself. We all know who Walt Disney is, the guy needs no introduction. Now Saving Mr. Banks was by far one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I found out about this movie like a year ago. I was just pumped for it. All I knew was that it was about the creative process behind Mary Poppins, and we had Tom Hanks playing Walt Disney. How can you not be like super stoked about that? And the movie was really great. It was really touching, really emotional, got the heartstrings pumping. Everyone in this movie played their parts really great. I mean, Emma Thompson as P.L. Travers was excellent. She is really cold-hearted at the start of this movie, and really at the end of it too. I mean, with this movie, Disney created more of an Ice Queen than they did in their actual movie about the Ice Queen. But hey, beneath all that, there was a heart in there somewhere, which they show in her backstory. Tom Hanks as Walt Disney. I love Tom Hanks, and I love Walt Disney, and that's kind of how I pictured Walt Disney to be like, other than him having Tom Hanks' voice. He does disguise his voice for the most part, but a couple times they're like, oh yeah, that's definitely Tom Hanks' voice. But the guy melds into his role so well. There's a scene in this movie where he's just sitting on a park bench by himself. Normally, if I were to see that, I would be like, Forrest Gump moment. But when I saw that, I was like, oh hey look, it's Walt Disney sitting on a bench, not Tom Hanks. Which is really impressive, because he is such a prolific actor nowadays that it's kind of hard not to see him as Tom Hanks. Another cool scene I liked about this movie is that when P.L. Travers gets to her hotel room, she turns on the TV, and they actually recreated a little behind the scenes feature that I remember seeing on my Peter Pan VHS tape, like, you know, back in the day. And it starts off with Walt Disney talking with Tinkerbell, who's like, you know, animated and flying around and everything, and they recreated that with Tom Hanks, and that was awesome. Attention to detail, that's always good. The guys that played the Sherman Brothers were really cool, which is kind of weird seeing them in their young age, because I always picture them as just being old. Paul Giamatti was her driver. He brought a nice level of emotion to the whole thing. And throughout the entire movie, it's flashing backwards to P.L. Travers' childhood in Australia. You see her dad, who's kind of the inspiration for Mr. Banks. It's played by Colin Farrell, and obviously you know there's going to be some tragedy involved, because with every great story, there's got to be some sort of tragedy or sadness behind it. That's where writers get their inspiration from. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of true. Anyways, he played his part great in this movie. You really get the sense that even though he is kind of a jerk sometimes, he still loves his daughter. And there's still a heart of gold somewhere down in there. The big highlight for the movie, really, for me, was getting to see the process of Mary Poppins being created. You see the conflicts and the struggles that Walt Disney had to go through with P.L. Travers, and you know, maybe it's not the most historically accurate film in the world, but P.L. Travers actually wanted all of their conversations and the writing and all of that recorded. And so in the end credits, they show a little snippet of that, but it's one of the snippets where she's being really, you know, Ice Queenie. So I don't know if Disney used that little snippet to play to their advantage. I've heard that the tapes are all online, so I'll check them out eventually. But yeah, you see Disney and the writers and the Sherman Brothers all working with P.L. Travers trying to create this movie. And I like seeing that, because I like seeing how movies get made, because I'm into that stuff, and it's cool. You see the storyboards with the Banks house and all of that, and honestly, what they're making in this movie is basically what we ended up with. And P.L. Travers just does not like this movie. Like, even after the movie's released, they don't show it in the movie, but like in real life, she was pretty vocal about her hate for this movie. I mean, she doesn't want anything animated in it. Walt Disney slipped in those animated penguins and those whole dancing scenes. But you know what? The movie turned out well, and it's amazing, and it's a classic, and it shows that you don't always need the author's approval to really lock down a great movie. Then again, there was a time when Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was going to be an animated movie directed by Spielberg with American actors, with Haley Joel Osment voicing Harry Potter. So there are exceptions to that rule. But Saving Mr. Banks was great. There isn't really a lot of bad I can say about the movie. The cast is great, the music was great, the whole putting together of the movie was awesome. I'm going to give Saving Mr. Banks an A. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. And you should all check it out because it's cool and it makes you want to watch Mary Poppins, and you leave the theater humming those songs, let's be honest here. So Saving Mr. Banks, have you seen it? What do you think about it? Comment down below, let me know, and thanks for watching this video. If you guys like it, you can click here to see more.